What is that?
It's my bone.
God damn it, Cartman!
How would you like to suck my balls?
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was... How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison?
Holy shit, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Sick Nah Buzz. Right here on, well, a lot of different networks, Joe.
Yes.
As of this recording, we are, I guess, happy, proud, and it's very sweet, privileged to announce that we are now on the R&R Pod Network, which is, I believe,
Kick-ass, dude.
Kick-ass. So we're on the R&R Pod Network. They now have access to our full library. I don't know if they're releasing all at once or how they're doing it, or you can go on there now, but we are now available on the R&R Pod Network. Of course, we're also available on Hummy Media Group and ratsaladreview.com, and of course on everywhere: iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, TuneIn, Breakercast, Overcast, Touch Your Cast, My Mom's Cast, Looking at Some Guy Who's Eating Some Chocolate Pudding podcast. I'm your host, The Most, who lives in Colorado and still is a ghost to a new intro that can deliver how over I am, because I'm not, but I'm trying here because everything rhymed with host the most when I lived on the West Coast, but I still can't get something out of the Rocky Mountain time with the feeling like I'm on the grind. I don't know, but I'm joined each and every week usually by two different guys, by both of them. However, we are in the season of holidays and business and whatnot. So Ian is not available with us today, aka Ski Jackson, as I think he's out of town right now. I don't know where he's at. But at least he told us and didn't leave us, wondering where the hell he was. We're making his way back, of course, this week after he did a wrestling pay-per-view we both got to be a part of. Ladies and gentlemen, dirty, Joe. Vernola.
And I had a whole tirade ready to go if you didn't have some kind of cool intro for me like you had for your scoops. So well done. I'm already in a better mood than I was like 3 minutes ago.
Piss. Off. Joe.
Everyone pisses Joe off.
Right? Everyone pisses Joe off.
I get mad. And like the meds had been working really good lately. And then this week came and just
all over.
Yeah.
Well, we've got an episode to review here, guys. And of course, once again, we're thanking R&R Pod Network for joining us. If this is your first time listening to us, just to give you a breakdown of what we do and how we do it. We are a South Park review podcast, obviously from the name Check My Bows. However, we break down each episode in linear order. So whether you're listening to this maybe right now for the very first time, episode 44, you've been a long time listener, or maybe in 2 years when we're on episode 100 and whatever, and you're just now listening to this, we appreciate you. But we're breaking it down with you as a guide, as kind of like you'll have the ability at any point in time, a catalog to go back and listen to a walkthrough, a review of this show. Now, I believe there might be another one out there. I don't remember what it's called. It has something to do with like Stark's Pond or something like that. He does kind of his own thing. I've not really ever listened to too many episodes, but I would say that we do market ourselves the most. We have gotten ourselves a name brand out there the most as far as putting out the fact that we are trying to bring you South Park entertainment. So we appreciate you tuning in. Now, I did not like this episode, Joe. This is one of my least favorite episodes of South Park. I know, kind of a weird way to start this episode, but it is Korn's Groovy pirate mystery. Oddly enough, of course, we're probably going to get challenged on this, as this is one of their top 5, top 10 rated episodes of all time. Some people even say this is the number 1 episode of South Park of all time, just because of all the different writing, the animation, the celebrity cameos, the music, the adult variety portion of it, and kind of merging of childhood adolescence with adult animation. And of course, being a Halloween episode too. It's a holiday episode. So like you got all those little individual factors that have created a very cult classic that I'm just not a fan of. Joe.
Oh man. And so this is going to be the second time in 2 weeks I deal with trolls then, because I am not as big a hater of this episode as you are, but
Hater's a strong word. I'd say a dislike.
My dislike isn't nearly as strong as yours,
That's
but
fair.
and we'll go into it towards the end. I've got it all written down in the notes at the end and the likes and dislikes and stuff. But so I don't want to put the cart before the horse here, but it's not one of my favorites either. So like I'm definitely seeing the hate mail in our future.
Well, if you'd like to send us emails, you're now a brand new listener. Of course, we'll plug that over. You can send us an email to suckmyballspod@gmail.com, or you can comment. We'd like to do shout outs as well, like from our Discord section. So if you join the Hummy Media Discord section, we have a thread in there called Suck My Balls. If you jump in there, have a comment or question, I'm definitely happy to answer it. You can tweet us at Suck My Balls Pod, Instagram at Suck My Balls Pod, and on Facebook at South Park Pod. So if you have any questions, comments, pictures, memes, quotes, like there's somebody I follow online. They're like South Park quotes, numerology, and stuff like that on Twitter, and they've been following us back, and they just do quotes and stuff like that, just funny South Park quotes. So we're always down to mingle with other South Park fans.
Oh yes.
But Joe, before we get into the actual review itself, I just want to shout out some of our listeners in the Discord, that being the real one, Jake, J Holly 86, the others, Big Juju, which is now actually Scoop. That's his name in the Discord. So we appreciate you guys interacting in there. And of course, we've shouted you out before. Continue to interact with us. Thanks, guys, so much. Korn's Groovy Pirate Mystery. So it's the 10th episode of season 3. It's the 43rd episode overall. Did I write that right? Is it really? No, it can't be the 43rd. I think that's the 41st. I think I wrote that wrong. It's the 41st. Because we just did the 43rd episode, and that was the 40th episode overall. So I wrote that wrong. It's the 41st episode. Now, it's weird. Like, did you notice, like, in the different websites, they'll try to, like, I don't know, put this in a different order?
Yeah.
Like, they try to make this season, or episode 12, I want to say, just because it happens to be near Halloween. However, this came out as episode 10. So this is a true first, 10th episode. Excuse me. And it immediately followed the Meteor Shower trilogy. It originally aired on South Park on October 27th, 1999. So it did air around that time. It's Halloween. Stan, Kyle, Cartman, and Kenny are interested in trying to scare the 5th graders. So they do so by digging up the grandma of Kyle's dead grandmother. And also Korn comes to town, and the mystery involving pirate ghosts begins. So let's break this down for you to kind of get things going with the plot. Now, I want to be very, forward in telling you that this was a mishmash of South Park and Scooby-Doo. Am I wrong? Right?
Not at all. You're not wrong at all. That was definitely what it was. It was their parody or homage to Scooby-Doo.
And Hanna Barbera, I would say more or less as well.
Yeah, there were definitely some Hanna Barbera elements in there beyond just the Scooby-Doo stuff.
And I think the reason why this episode, and we'll get to who, the reviews and whatever, all the culture and trivia and whatnot. But the reason why this was also revered as much as I believe, like some of the Hanna Barbera people who were involved in creating that, or people who've been watching Hanna Barbera, were like a fan of this animation style and the way they were able to kind of bring it into the South Park universe. So, we're not necessarily hating on the fact of the animation or how it's done or even the writing so much. I just don't like Scooby-Doo, Joe. I was never a fan of Scooby-Doo as a kid. I was never a fan of Scooby-Doo and his pup Scooby-Doo. I was never a fan of
Scrappy-Doo is a stupid little son.
I've never been a fan of Scooby-Doo the series. It's got a good jingle. I'll give it that. Scooby-Doo, where are you? We're ready and we're willing. We can count on you, Scooby-Doo. Like, it's a good jingle. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have a Scooby snack. That's a fact. So, it's a good little catchy jingle, but I don't like the show. And maybe if I had grown up in the 60s and 70s when Hanna Barbera was at the height of popularity, and they were really on the forefront and using the same kind of stock footage for every different cartoon, but creating these different storylines. If I had been a part of that, maybe I'd have a different interpretation. But as a kid who was born in the late 80s and grew up in the 90s, you know, my animation was primarily consumed of Cartoon Network's new animation developed, Disney and Nickelodeon, you know, and Fox and the WB, their Saturday morning cartoon types. There was an evolution in the style of animation where it went from being more of that same used stock image over and over to actual, you know, drawn out animated scenes.
And for me, having been born a couple years before you, like early 80s, I was exposed to a lot more of the Hanna Barbera stuff than you were, maybe. And I am a fan of most Hanna Barbera stuff. Like, even if it, like, even some of the knockoff Hanna Barbera stuff, like the knockoffs of Hanna Barbera, like the Jay Ward stuff, like Dudley Do-Right, Bullwinkle, Rocky, all that crap. Like, I mean, crap, you were probably saw on my Facebook earlier, I was quoting friggin' Klondike Cat crap. So I am a fan of the old animation like that. That said, absolutely fucking hate Scooby-Doo, except for the episodes with Batman and Robin and the episodes with the Harlem Globetrotters. And even then, that's on a camp factor of it's so bad it's good.
One episode I've tolerated and I've actually enjoyed of Scooby-Doo, and it was a crossover. It happened like 3 years ago with the show Supernatural. Now, I'm not even the biggest fan of Supernatural, but it worked because it was like, okay, Supernatural is the real life version of Scooby-Doo. So like this was a good mashup that I was willing to sit down and enjoy. And I was dating a girl who was really into Supernatural too, so I wanted to get laid. So
I feel you. And like the WWE crossover I watched because I will like put myself through anything that has those 3 letters on it. Apparently, right. I watched the Flintstones once too.
Yeah, and if you didn't have the coronavirus, I'd be at your house right now watching a documentary. But you have the corona, ladies and gentlemen. Joe has corona.
No, I don't. No, I don't. I think everyone around me might, but
he's in a war zone.
I am on ground fucking zero right now. Like, I have stayed away from everyone.
That being said, Scooby-Doo, we're not fans of. Now, I did like the Jetsons and I liked Flintstones.
Hell yeah. Oh, all of
those I did. And as you mentioned, Rocky and Bullwinkle, that was on Nickelodeon. Like, at one point, Nickelodeon syndicated that cartoon early.
Yeah, and
so like I liked Rocky and Bullwinkle. And then eventually it got moved to like when Nick at Night first started, they would put Rocky and Bullwinkle on kind of as a segue into the Nick at Night. So it would show like the last cartoon. And then if you were still up, it would show Rocky and Bullwinkle. And then it would go into like their Nick at Night segments.
Right. And then like sometimes on like Friday night or Saturday night at the end of the Snick block, they would have like Ren and Stimpy or something as a lead into that.
Right. Yeah, no, it was a definitely good way to like get kids to be like, okay, cartoons are coming to an end, or adults to be who are maybe like waiting. Hey, you know, maybe you'll like this cartoon. So, well, the story starts off with the boys are at the docks, and you know they are walking through the docks area, and what's happens on an annual basis, or I guess now it's the second annual, as the banner mentions. It's the second annual. It looks like Chef Fest or whatever. Chef Halloween Fest is what it says.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll correct myself here in the edit, but it's a Halloween carnival festival. You know, you got the radio DJ. Welcome back to the blah, 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 blah. It's 91.5, 102.5, the Halloween Hut. Hey boys, what do you think about the brand new Halloween Hut? And then Stan goes, a couple months ago, I saw these 2 guys kissing, and I thought that was the gayest thing I've ever seen until today.
So good. Like, I lost my shit when I heard that line.
Well, here's some kids enjoying the Halloween Hunt now. Say, boys, what do you think of Cozy FM's Halloween Hunt so far?
This one time, like 8 months ago, I saw 2 guys kissing in a park, and that was the gayest thing I'd ever seen until I saw the Cozy FM Halloween Hunt.
All right, well, enjoy the spooky dogs, kids.
Now, Cartman at this point is already counting down to Christmas. You guys only got 72 more days till Christmas. So he's excited.
I hate people like Cartman.
Really?
Fuck Christmas. And I hate people like Cartman. And if I were anywhere near him, I would punch him in the face. And I'm not even pro Halloween. I just don't like Christmas.
I don't count down to Christmas. I do like Christmas. So I'm just
Nope.
saying.
I am not.
I like Christmas because I like some of the holiday movies is what I like Christmas for.
Mhm.
And then I also do like the fact that there seems to be, at least from like a fake aspect, people seem to be a little bit nicer around that time. They put on, there's a more intent. They try to be nice, right?
Which is
So, like,
one of the reasons, like, motherfuckers, why you all nice around this time of year? Why can't
no, I
you?
get it. And I get that, but at the very least, I just try to appreciate because you obviously, can only lead the horse to the trough.
Yeah.
Make
We
him
don't
bring the
need
water.
to. We don't need to unload. I don't need to make you my psychologist right now.
Well, somebody who's generally a psychology of people or a psychologist of his people is Priest Maxi, and he
Mhm.
tries to inform the people about like that. He tries to inform the people about the evils of Halloween, but is ignored. As he's he's appearing on the radio and like he's like, you will all go to if you have Korn play here while on the most abomination day, I don't know what's going to happen. God will bring down the wrath of smite and whatever the euphemism.
He starts getting all Old Testament.
Joining me now is Father Maxey from the South Park Church. Father, what do you think of all the preparations here at the Ducks?
Halloween is an abomination of God, a celebration of the occult.
Yeah, and how about Korn playing the big concert tomorrow? Pretty exciting, huh?
Korn is a devil-worshipping group that plays violent music. If we allow that demon band to play on this most unholy of holidays, we may incur the full wrath of evil.
All right, we'll see you tomorrow for Halloween.
Yeah, Old Testament. And like the radio DJ totally no-sells it. All right, well, thanks. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Halloween night. Doesn't even care. At that point, the boys then bump into what we are going to eventually be the 6th graders, but the 5th graders at this time. They pop out and they're terrorizing them with a kind of a cardboard cutout of some pirate ghosts. And the boys are contemplating how they're going to avoid getting terrorized the next day, as these 5th graders mentioned that tomorrow we're going to, basically break your balls by scaring the crap out of you. So now they're trying to come up with a way, well, how do we get back at the 5th graders? And they decide, well, first we go back to Cartman's house. Cartman's like chilling at his house and he's, making preparations for his Christmas list, reading his book. He's like, man, I'm going to sit on the couch and I'm going to circus up in the Barnaby's magazine for Christmas.
Ma'am, you got the new Duffy's catalog. I'm gonna circle everything I want for Christmas, okay? Ma'am, okay? Okay, let's see. I want this.
Man, I want that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. I like this part because it was very nostalgic, I think, for us as kids back then when we didn't have the internet, when you got the magazines and you went through and you picked out your Nintendo video game or Sega game that was coming out. Or even later with the original PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64, the late 90s, you still had the magazines, the JCPenney magazines and whatnot you were trying to pick out for Christmas.
The Toys R Us big book of toys.
The big book
whatever
of toys.
that was. Yeah, the big book of toys that came out like right before Thanksgiving. Yeah. Ooh, I want Royal Rumble. And
Yeah, it was action figures for me, man. Like as a kid, I wanted the action figures. I just had such an active imagination. I wanted to act it out myself. And I felt like the video games at the time, right until we got Attitude or Raw, Warzone, Raw's War. But up until that, I really was not a big fan of the games per se, like the 8-bit and 16-bit. Even to this day, I'm still not really a fan of those games. Like I'm interested to see what Retromania does, and I'm going to buy it.
yeah.
And based on what I've seen you play Fire Pro Wrestling, you can make a good game with limited graphics. So
yes, you can.
I'm not worried about so it was just who made the games, as the Angry Video Game puts them down. LJN had a big hand in making a lot of those wrestling games. So, I definitely was never a big fan, but right around the time, the 3D came with the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, that's right around the time that I got in to video games itself, as far as wrestling video games. So
that rainbow is the market death on video games.
That rainbow is the market death of video games. So as we mentioned, Cartman is, he's circling that, and just like those wrestling games, those would be in the big book of toys. So like that was probably right around that end time when I stopped using that, because then demos would come out and we had game magazines and stuff like that. So anything electronic wise, there was a adaptation of that in itself. So it was kind of nostalgic for me here to see Cartman circling all that here in the magazine. So he's circling all that, Joe. And then the doorbell rings, and his mom answers the door for him, and they're making fun of him. They call him a fat ass and big bone. His mom's like straight up laughing at him. Like,
Yeah.
can't help herself here.
Come on, fat ass, we have to go. Hey, don't call me fat. Ma'am, don't laugh.
I'm sorry, hon.
I can't go with you guys right now. Yes, you can, Porky. Ma'am, Zaza.
Oh, that's not funny, boys. Eric isn't fat. He's big boned.
He must have a huge bone in his ass then.
God damn it, Mom!
And it's kind of fucked up. But then we go outside, and you were about to mention, Joe, you said what they were about to do. What here? I apologize.
They had started plotting their way to get the revenge against the 5th graders, and that was that's about the point that they decide that they are going to dig up Kyle's dead grandmother.
The interaction here that I thought was great is Stan is like, "Come on, fat ass, we're gonna go get back at the 5th graders. How are we gonna do that? Or I don't want to do that. Yeah, you do, fat ass," says Kyle, and then they're bickering back and forth. But Stan says, "We're gonna go dig up a dead body," and Kyle's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go dig up a dead body." Kyle's like, "Who are we gonna go dig up?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go dig up Kyle's dead grandma." And Kyle's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go dig up fat ass. We're gonna go dig up." Wait, what?
What's the scariest thing we could get? Spooky spider? No, a dead body.
Yeah, fat ass, a dead body.
You mean we make something that looks like a dead body? We can never make one that looks real enough. To be really scary, it would have to be real.
Yeah, fat ass, it has to be real to be scary.
So where the hell are we gonna get a dead body? We're gonna dig up Kyle's dead grandma.
Yeah, fat ass, we're gonna dig up Kyle's dead grandma.
He looks at Stan like, "What do you mean we're gonna?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, your grandma's perfect. She only died like 3 months ago, right? So like, she's the perfect body to dig up." So their plan is to dig up the dead body of Kyle's grandma to scare the 5th graders. Kind of a little disgusting.
Are you insane? I think that's a sweet idea.
Joe, have you ever met anybody who tried to dig up a dead body?
No.
Okay. Let me rephrase. Let me rephrase the question. If you had known somebody, would you be able to talk about it? Would you admit to it?
Probably.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, other than the digging up of the grave, I wouldn't divulge any further incriminating information or anything like that. But like, I mean, it seems like a cool story to tell. Like, yeah, I know a guy that dug up a dead body. Like, it's like, yeah, I went cow tipping once.
Okay, all right, I see where you're going. Well, so the boys set off to dig up, and Cartman's all like, "This is a big idea." Once he finds out it's Kyle's dead grandma, 100%. Yeah, okay, this makes sense. This good. So he's 100% on board to go.
Yeah, Kyle's because it inconveniences Kyle.
Yep, Cartman continues to sing his Christmas songs, as you mentioned you did not like. Mm-hmm. I am going to be singing Christmas songs in about a month and a half, just so you know, like around Thanksgiving, I'll be singing.
You know what? If it starts at Thanksgiving, I'll give anyone a pass. I try not to let my hatred bleed into others' joy.
I don't know what it is, man. I just like the season about it. There's a certain energy in the air that I like, and I'm excited for it. Anyway.
Oh, and I know what my problems are, but like I said, I'm not going to talk about them here.
Maybe that'll be on a bonus Patreon. It'll be called it'll be called on the couch with Mr. Mackey.
Okay.
Joe, what are you going ahead and tell us what's going on? Okay?
Oh my God, we should do that.
That's it'll be South Park Love Line style counseling for a Patreon.
Yes.
Your callers can call in and tell us their issues.
Mr. Mackey.
Okay. Well, what you want to do is, don't lie. Okay. Lying's bad. Okay.
So the boys end up set off. They dig up the grandma, and after they dig it up, it's interesting. As soon as they open the casket door, like Kyle's like, "Wow, it's my dead grandma." And Kyle goes, "Hello, Kyle."
Kyle's like, "Where?" Hi, Grandma.
Hi, Kyle. Ah! Have you been a good boy, Kyle? Have you been making Grandma proud?
Damn it, Cartman, that's not funny.
Yes, it is. I'm sweet.
He's like, "Wee!" guy's like, "Oh my god!" And guy's like, "Stupid." And he's like, "Don't belittle my people. Let's be respectful of my grandma." And Cartman's like, "Sorry, dude, it's kind of funny." And Stan's like, "Yeah, dude, it actually is kind of funny." So I just like this episode. Stan's kind of on Cartman's side. Even Cartman's like, "I'm pretty sweet." So the boys decide they're gonna hide the body though on the dock behind some boxes. Didn't really do a good job of trying to hide this dead body. And so much so that the next day didn't even like redig back the plow to try and cover their tracks, because the very next day, Kyle's mom gets a knock on the door, and it's the wardens at Mount Peaceful Cemetery, and they've come to inform her that her mother has been grave robbed, and is of course they immediately jumped to the work of necrophiliacs. Now they go very in depth here. Yeah, that was probably soaked her body in water for a couple hours just to get it lubricated enough to a point till the body looks like just like a piece of cheese.
Oh, dear God!
Yes, by now he's probably even removed her eyes and made love to the empty sockets as well.
Oh!
No, we don't want to upset you, but you should know that your mother's body would be stiff and dry, so he would have to have it soaked in warm water for several hours before making love to it.
Oh!
Yes, and now for the difficult part.
Brace yourself.
It is highly possible that he has created new orifices in her decomposing flesh, leaving her to look something like an overloved hunk of Swiss cheese.
He would have removed her eyes and to use her holes as.
They've probably created new orifices as well. And like my favorite part in that whole spiel is like when she asks what are they gonna do.
Just tell me what you're gonna do about it.
Do?
Oh, we don't do anything. We're just the watchmen.
Yeah, I guess maybe you might want to call the police or something.
Ah!
Oh, we're just telling you what happened. You should probably call the cops. Like they didn't even bother to call the police. You should probably call the cops.
They just immediately came over. They're like, oh, another necrophilia case. Better go talk to these people.
Right.
She's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Do? Yeah, well, we don't do anything. Yeah, you should probably call the police. So Sheila runs off, of course, to take care of that. Now is where we get the introduction of the Scooby-Doo parody. We've got the band Korn driving around in the woods. They're driving toward the area, and they're in their Mystery Machine, which is a parody of the Mystery Machine itself, just called the Mystery. They decided to play a stupid game of pass the time of I See or I Spy, whatever you want to call the game.
Yep.
They end up getting scared when they see some pirate ghosts, though, and they end up crashing their van, driving it off a cliff, landing in South Park, which is where they were headed. So they're now there. Now the boys, of course, are making their way back home, and they are spooked out, and they come in contact with Korn. And the Korn tells them, hey, we thought you guys were some pirate ghosts. And they were like, oh, that's probably not pirate ghosts. That's probably just the fifth graders trying to scare us for tomorrow. So the assumption on their part is, and we're led to believe that it's a fifth grader. So we have no idea that it's going to end up being somebody else, as everything in the Scooby-Doo series is, right?
Yep. And I will put a slight caveat to the Scooby-Doo segment earlier. Like, a pup named Scooby-Doo was all right in small doses, only because it made fun of Scooby-Doo. Like, it literally pointed out the red herring every time, and then named the character Red Herring. That's some meta shit, dude.
All right.
And just like they did with the fifth graders here, like you said, in every Scooby-Doo episode ever, they present the red herring right out the gate, which in this case is... it's just good deconstruction.
Yeah. Well, after that, we then kind of get a little bit of foreshadowing here. Is Priest Maxie's at the docks putting up anti-Halloween signs, and then Korn encounters them. I like this. He's like, you shouldn't even be here. Your music is abomination and you're horrible.
Oh, hi. We're Korn. We're supposed to play the Halloween concert tomorrow.
I know who you are and what you stand for. I think your music and Halloween is an abomination.
Groovy, could you show us where to set up?
Thanks, bro. That's Groovy, bro. Can you tell us where we can set up the stage? Like, just being musicians, you get used to people telling you suck. You suck! Right. Yeah, all right. We're going to be on at 8, though. So
you guys suck. Cool. Where do we put the ring?
Yeah, exactly. So at the town hall now, immediately at the town hall over, the town is pissed. They're like, why are we here? We want to get to the Halloween hunt. But there's a meeting being held, Officer Barbera. What seems to be the problem? Now listen up, everybody. We got a message here. And it's the wardens. So now the wardens have decided they need to tell everybody about necrophilia. And, you know, how about necrophilia is apparently on the lam right now. And while doing so, a pirate ship appears in the sky along with 3 pirate ghosts who begin to actually kill people in the crowd and tell Korn as well as the people that if this Halloween hunt continues, we will continue to kill people. So stay away from the docks. And then they vanish. And then Priest Maxie shows up and explains that he was right about how the band members are evil devil worshippers. So this is all their fault. And then the town, they decide, you know what? That he's right. We got to drive Korn out of town. So Priest Maxie here is seemingly able to convince the crowd. And so far, and it looks just like he's just taking advantage of the situation, right? You know. We don't have any other inclination to think that Priest Maxie would ever do anything wrong, would he? Now, at the same time, the boys showed up in their Halloween costumes. Now, there's a theme going on throughout. We'll get into the what did Kenny say, but Kenny's like, I got a really cool costume. And they don't believe he's going to have a cool costume. Now, he actually does have the fucking coolest costume, and everybody just nobody puts it over. Stan shows up as a cowboy. Kyle shows up as a clown. Kenny shows up as an ED-209 robot from the film RoboCop. It's fucking awesome. Man, he had the best fucking costume. Now, Cartman Cartman decides not to wear a Halloween costume because he's waiting at home and a package, the doorbell rings, and he thinks it's a Christmas package for him. So it's like his mom getting a package. Sign here, here, and here. So he signs away, and then he opens it up, and it's clearly a sex doll for his mom. It's a Antonio Banderas blow-up doll with an erection. Love doll, that's what it's called. So he thinks it's going to be a Christmas present for him. Now, everybody puts this over, though. They're like, oh, you got a cool Antonio Banderas doll. So everybody didn't even make the association it's a sex doll. They just think he's a kid walking around with Antonio Banderas blow-up doll. Now, they go to get the dead grandma to scare the 5th graders. And to their surprise, the dead grandma's gone. Now, you may be asking, what happened to the dead grandma? Well, overnight, a dog showed up, a stray dog, and pulled the dead grandma away. And we'll get to reveal what happens later. But as at this point, we don't know where the dead grandma's at. She's gone. So they're upset. Korn then comes along, and they're under the assumption now that everybody wants to get rid of them too. And they tell Korn about it. So Korn goes, this is all getting kind of weird, guys. We got ourselves a mystery we got to solve. And Korn theorizes that the pirate ghost may be linked to the disappearance of Kyle's dug-up grandma. So they split into 2 teams and begin to seek truth. Now, this is the interesting way they split up into 2 teams.
I know. Let's have everyone who enjoys having obstacles in their life which they can overcome go this way. And everyone whose insecurities sabotage their potential to overcome those obstacles go that way.
Okay.
Wow, that was easy.
For everybody who's a go-getter, I'm paraphrasing, but everybody who's confident in themselves, who's a go-getter and goes after their goals, stand to the right. And everybody who's insecure about themselves would rather be, the back of the pack and doesn't have any confidence, stand on the other side. And everybody just splits up. And then Stan goes, wow, that surprisingly was really easy. And I like this here because it was like South Park saying, look, if you just present people with the ability to be honest about themselves, they can ultimately make the right decision. So, because if you present the truth and say, okay, are you this, or this, then how are you going to, then you're just lying to yourself, not lying to anybody else, right? So it's
Pretty
interesting. Well, the team involving Cartman decides to trap the, what is it? I guess you might say the ghosts, or decides to trap the 5th graders, whoever they're after. And doing so here, while Team A, I guess you might say Stan's team, they're also wandering around, looking for, different clues and whatnot. Hey, maybe this is a clue. They find a book that says how to be a pirate ghost. And then there's an argument breaks out of what is the difference between what a pirate ghost is and what a ghost pirate. No, if it dies a pirate, then it would be a pirate ghost. But if it becomes a ghost, or if he goes a pirate after being a ghost, then it's a ghost pirate.
They're not pirate ghosts, Jonathan. They're ghost pirates.
Huh?
Pirate ghost would suggest that a pirate died and became a ghost. But a ghost pirate is a ghost that later made a conscious decision to be a pirate.
No, David, then they are pirate ghosts because they're the ghosts of pirates.
You're wrong because there were no pirates in Colorado. So these must be ghosts that decided to become pirates after the fact.
But that makes them pirate ghosts.
No, it makes them ghost pirates.
Pirate ghosts!
Guys! Fighting isn't gonna solve anything. Don't you see this is exactly what those ghost pirates want us to do?
Pirate ghosts.
So there was just this argument. So the team involving Cartman decides to set a trap because what happened? They're trying to set these ghosts, find out if, who it is. So they use Cartman's Antonio Banderas blow up doll as bait. On the other side, though, the other team, I guess, Fieldly, the band member of Korn.
Fieldy, yeah.
Fieldy, he loses. I wasn't a fan of Korn. A couple tracks I liked, but not a fan. Loses his glasses and encounters a pirate ghost. When he realizes the whole team then flees in panic, they go right for the trap. Mistake Cartman's Antonio Banderas blow-up doll as a real person. They're like, "Hey, help us, Antonio Banderas!" And then they eventually fall into the trap, which was like, what's going to happen is they're going to fall for the trap by running for Antonio Banderas, falling across the slip and slide, landing in this mine. What is it? What are those things called? Mine.
The mine cart.
A mine cart that runs across a cart, a cart track or whatever, and then a net will fall onto them, right?
Yep.
So unfortunately, it doesn't fall onto the team, but the team does crash and everybody's there, and then all of a sudden the whole town comes in and they burst in, and then the pirate ghosts show up, and then they put the net onto the ghosts, and they're like, "All right, we can finally figure out who's under the mask or who was under the like the Scooby-Doo reveal." And then the ghost disappear. Oh, it really was a ghost. And a guy like Randy's response, "Oh my god, he's sending there's demons onto us."
Korn is sending their demon minions upon us.
The Korn is sending their demon ghosts onto us. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So now, however, they're unable to catch the pirate ghosts in the net, as you mentioned, and the true identity of the ghosts are not revealed at this time as they disappeared, now suggesting that they're real pirate ghosts. Now, then Korn's pet, Nibblet, which we didn't mention this, and I've been putting it off. So obviously, Scooby-Doo has a character. They have a character. It's like an alien chicken or an overblown baby chicken, parakeet, half chicken, called Nibblet. It's stupid. It's Nibblet. However, Nibblet is able to save the days. He opens a trapdoor, uncovering the fact that the true villain is Priest Maxi. And the case is solved in the regards to the fact that he was using these Q-tips as the ghosts. And for the ghost ship, he used a piece of cheese and like a muffler for the sound of the pirate. Arr! And then he used some cards and 2 squirrels for the ship.
Yeah.
Just like they basically, made fun of that, how they always use this crazy, little bit of like MacGyver technology to make these ghosts.
Yep.
But however, in the end, Priest Maxi is arrested. So Priest Maxi, even they're like, wait a minute, you went through all this, even killing people because you don't like Halloween? So it's interesting here that Priest Maxi ends up going to prison, or he ends up being arrested for killing people. But we're eventually going to see him as a continuing character in later episodes. In fact, so much so in the later seasons, he even becomes like the only good religious character left.
Yeah.
So, but he's also a murderer in this sense. He killed people. So, well, the dog shows up and it vomits up Kyle's dead grandma, the body and head and everything. And they put the dead body on a stick and scare the 5th graders. I'm a dead body. So they scare the 5th graders. And then the town eventually asks Korn to stay and perform. And the Korn the whole time in this episode has been like very quiet, very polite, very, very friendly. All right, gang, let's do this. Come on, let's do this. We'll get to the bottom. And then they're like, all right, well, we got a song that reminds us of this whole situation. And then they just break out into their song.
Well, this sure has been a wacky night, but me and the gang learned a lot, and we hope you did too. You all perceived us to be mean, evil people, but really we're just normal guys. And we all perceived pirate ghosts to be real when actually they were just cotton swabs. So I guess the lesson is, it's easy to perceive something some way and then be wrong. So we all need to learn to be a little less perceptive.
Yeah.
The gang and I wrote a song about it, and it goes a little something like this. And a 1, and a 2, and a...
With the strobes and everything. It's so good.
Yeah. So at this point, Cartman's doll is then popped by Nibblet. So Cartman's now chasing, and he screams out, "That's you son of a bitch chicken from outer space." That was funny. Kenny, despite his bipedal robot war machine costume, does not win the Halloween costume contest. Once again, loses it to Wendy Tessenberger for her Chewbacca costume from Pink Eye episode.
Yeah.
And then soon after his loss, just like in an homage to Star Wars and the AT-ATs, he's taken down by these tiny little speeder bikes who just show up and, surround his legs with wire, and then he falls and he dies. That's how Kenny dies in this episode. And Korn ends with them singing. That's how the episode ends, guys. It ends with Korn performing. So, kudos to Korn. This was, other than the movie and Jennifer Aniston, this was like the first actual band itself to appear, right? Or no, they had Chef Aid. They
had Chef Aid.
So they did
You're my cheddar cheese girl.
But there was only I don't know if they actually got the people to sing.
Yeah,
right?
they got Meatloaf and all those guys.
Elton John is what I'm saying to come.
Oh yeah, no, maybe not Elton, but they definitely got Meatloaf.
Yeah, but they definitely they got the full band. So you got a full band here. They've gotten Jennifer Aniston. So yeah, they've definitely been picking it up as far as letting actors and actresses play characters that isn't Sparky Stan's homosexual dog. That dog's guy. That's good now.
Oh, you're my cheddar cheese girl.
I'm
just gonna have that stuck in my head.
Wendy, smell the flowers. So that was the episode, guys. Season 3, episode 10, South Park's 41st episode, our 44th overall. And now, Joe, I don't have Scoop here to do it with me. So do you want to sing it with me, or do you want me to do it by myself?
Right. I think I could try this.
Okay, in 1, 2, 3. What did Kenny say? What did Kenny say? So for those listening for the very first time, What Did Kenny Say is a segment we feature on every episode where we break down and tell you what Kenny said, since all this dialogue is muffled. So in the early onset of the episode, Stan, Kyle, and Kenny are walking past a shack which hangs a banner that says costume contest. Kenny says, "You guys, I'm going to try and win that costume contest." Kyle and 2 older boys then peek around from behind the boxes, and Kyle says, "Give it up, Kenny. You're not going to win that costume contest. Your costumes always suck." And then eventually Kenny and the boys are scared, so they scream out, "Ah, ah!" Later on, Cartman is like, where the hell are we going to get a dead body? And Stan says, "We're going to dig up Kyle's dead grandma." And Kyle says, "Yeah, fat ass. We're going to dig up Kyle's dead grandma." And Stan says, "Yeah, dude, she's perfect. She only died like 3 months ago, right?" Kyle's like, "Are you insane?" And then that's when Cartman goes, "Yeah, that's the idea." And even Kenny's like, "Yeah." So Kenny agrees that it's a sweet idea. And later on, Kyle's like, "Wait till you see my costume, guys. It's going to be sweet." Kenny's like, "Mine is so fucking badass. It's going to win now." And he's right. It was a fucking badass costume.
Yeah, it really was.
Oh, man, I can't believe he doesn't win. Well, Cartman says, "Oh, come on. Okay, man, Kenny. You never have a sweet costume. You're not going to win the costume contest." Kenny's like, "Yes, I am. I got the costume. It's waiting in the house. Yesterday, I got this huge package in the mail, and it was so big, okay?" And then the dog returns, sniffs the body from a distance, and then approaches, of course, slowly sniffing it and takes it away. Later on, Stan says, "Hey, Kenny." And when Kenny's in his costume, and Kenny's like, "Hey, guys, check out this kick-ass cool costume." And everybody just knows how it. Cartman's like, "Yeah, huh? Nice costume, Kenny. If you think you're going to win with that, huh?" So no one thinks it's cool.
Right? Man, if someone showed up like the ED-209, I would have just gone home. Like, I'm not winning this contest.
And then, as we mentioned in the conclusion, Mr. Garrison says, and the winner of the costume contest is Wendy for her Chewbacca costume. Come on up, Wendy. And Kenny's like, "Aw!" And then at the end of the Korn Pirates Groovy Mystery here with the speeder bikes slowly surrounding Kenny, Kenny yells out, "What the hell? What the fuck is this?" And then 2 more speeders fly by, bomb him to bits, and then rats, of course, converge to kill him. So, ladies and gentlemen, so Joe, that's what Kenny said. All right, why don't you break down some of this trivia first, Joe?
All right, for sure. This is the first episode since Sexual Harassment Panda to feature all 4 main characters. In this episode, Leanne Cartman receives an Antonio Banderas blow-up doll. This doll can be seen in many future episodes. The members of Korn provide their own voices. They also used this episode for the world premiere of Falling Away From Me. The method Priest Maxi uses to kill people remains unexplained. This episode... Oh,
no,
go ahead.
I mean, I was going to say, and I pulled that up on trivia. It does kind of explain how did he get the cotton swab ghost figures to use swords.
Right.
That is explained. Sorry, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, I just... this episode marks the first speaking appearance of the 5th graders, now 6th graders. They are called 5th graders here, but after the grade change in 4th grade, they are renamed 6th graders. This is the last Halloween special until Hell on Earth 2006, and the only Halloween special with guest stars. Also, the Halloween version of the show's intro is used for the last time here. The disclaimer is redesigned from this episode onwards. Alabama Man makes an appearance in the toy magazine. The toy would later be seen in a commercial in Chimpokemon.
That's the very next episode.
Yep.
Alabama Man is coming full of plan.
Chimpokemon!
Hey, kids, do you love Chimpokemon? Yeah. All right, we'll get to that. I love that episode next week.
The Mr. Hanky construction set makes an appearance. In the graveyard is an open grave that reads Kenny 2000. In another shot, there is another grave that reads Kenny 1999. Kenny's lines in the intro are the same as in seasons 1 and 2 because the Halloween intro was completely reused. And the argument over whether or not the ghosts are pirate ghosts or ghost pirates was an actual debate between Korn, Matt Stone, and Trey Parker.
Isn't that funny?
That is a pretty good one.
So I'll get into the pop culture, but I also have another little piece of tidbit trivia here. Of course, we're both residents of Colorado. Now, one of the individuals who I am working with, he went to the same film school as Matt Stone and Trey Parker. In fact, when he was a freshman, they were seniors. And he told me a fun story today about how one of their friends had created this video or whatnot back in the early 90s. And in between the video, there were cuts. And these cuts that were used were cows being slaughtered. And because of these cuts and because of this movie, Matt Stone and Trey Parker's friends, their friend itself was expelled and kicked out of CSU, the college. So because of that actually ended up being one of the catalysts to Matt Stone and Trey Parker to be like, yo, if they kicked him out, they're going to probably be coming for us next. So that was what Matt ended up using to convince Trey to be like, yo, we need to go to Hollywood and we need to just go start our own thing. So I just thought that was a little bit of a fun fact that I learned at work. I thought that was pretty cool. So, and of course we are living in Colorado. Joe, we're going to be starting a new segment here in the next couple weeks. I forgot to if I told Ian about this, but we're going to be starting a brand new segment. It's going to be called Can We Get Stone and Trey Parker on the Show?
Yes.
Every week we are going to email them to see if we can get them on the show. We will give you an update every week to see if they've accepted. Now, maybe we'll get somebody else from the studios as well. Everyone's at home and working remotely. So everyone's got time. You want to talk South Park love to showcase you and all of your art and all of your background and history and, what everything that goes into making a South Park. So if you know people or you're listening or you have those connections or you respond to our emails, we'd love to have you on. But our goal is to get Matt Stone and Trey Parker on this show and then ultimately make fun of us in an episode of South Park.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. We just want to get made fun of. Like if Cartman could make a Suck My Balls podcast and then rag on us or steal it from us, these stupid nerds. No. Like even if it was only 5 seconds and they just made fun of us and Cartman takes over our podcast.
I want to be like that kid, Alex. Who are you? I'm Alex.
Dude, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's all I want.
But not even that. I wouldn't even mind being like I said, say if there was a South Park podcast, because podcasts are pop culture now. Say if there was a podcast episode that was South Park related, and then Cartman takes over. If we were those characters, hey, I'm Matt, and I'm Joe, and I'm Ian, and this is the South Park podcast. And then Cartman comes in, kicks us out, takes over, and renames it Suck My Balls. Like, I would be so happy and I'd be like, mission complete.
Okay, yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm with it.
Yeah, because then we get to be in the episode and you showcase our podcast.
Yes.
So and you make fun of us and maybe you kill us off or something. I don't know. Like if you killed us off, it'd be even great. Like that'd be even better. Like Cartman figures out a way to kill us off. We're giving out free ideas here. Please use them.
Yes.
Pop culture, guys, as we continue here. This episode is a parody, of course, the classic cartoon series Scooby-Doo. And Korn portrays it with the same personalities of the Mystery Inc. group, even using 60 phrases such as groovy and riding in a van designed similar to the Mystery Machine. Of course, the trap is sprung in a similar way that Scooby-Doo does, with the cast splitting up into 2 teams. And Korn trap consists of everyday objects similar to Fred's traps from Scooby-Doo. Nibblet is a parody of Hanna Barbera's animal sidekicks such as Gleek of the Super Friends, Scooby-Doo, and Jibberjaw. Kenny's death at the end is a reference to, as we mentioned, how the at walkers are taken down by the speeder bikes and the Empire Strikes Back. Well, not speeders. What are those called?
That I think that's the name.
Okay.
I think that's what they're called on the games and stuff too.
Yeah, so Skywalker, of course, being a renowned pilot who destroyed the first Death Star in Star Wars, uses snow speeders. However, they did not have the necessary firepower to bring down the walkers, so Skywalker suggested an alternative tactic to trip up the walkers with tow cables issued to every snow speeder. So I apologize, not X-Wing, TIE Fighter, X-Wing, just a snow speeder. Simple snow speeder using logic. And that's what was referenced here. Now, as we mentioned, the Scooby-Doo references also. Korn is also animated in a similar style to Scooby-Doo. Their van also does the same bouncing animation the Mr. Machine did. Cartman celebrating of Christmas, even though it's Halloween, may be a reference to how many stores begin putting out Christmas season items almost right after Halloween, which is why you do not like people who count down, because you already have to see it in stores. So you're like, God damn it. Now, the cemetery manager's description of the filing of Kyle's dead grandma is taken from the movie Necromatic.
Necromatic?
Necromatic. Yeah, I've never seen that movie. And
neither have I. I would have never known that. This is why you listen to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen.
If you want to watch the movie and do review, tag us and we'll share it. But I don't want to watch it. Kenny's costume, as we mentioned, is a replica of ED-209 from RoboCop. As it happens, the model happened to be a malfunction in RoboCop, causing the death of someone also named Kenny. So I thought that was a nice little breadcrumb there.
Right.
Kyle's grandma's tombstone is a tribute to the late Stanley Kubrick. The tombstone had a 1928 to 1999 written on it, which is Kubrick's birth and death years. Of course, Stanley Kubrick was a very famous director. He directed the movie Eyes Wide Shut. That was his last movie, and then died like weeks later after it was released. There's a lot of controversy and conspiracy around that. How far deep was in Stanley Kubrick? What was the Eyes Wide Shut supposed to be a representation of, this ultra elite society? But if you want more talk like that, you can listen to Conspiracy Horseman each and every Wednesday night on twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman. The captain of the Ghost Pirate is named Captain Blind, as a track on Korn's debut album is titled Blind. Similarly, when Kyle cries about his lost grandmother, Fieldy, is that what you stated?
Yeah, Fieldy.
I hate to see the little clowns cry. And And that's also a track Clown is on their debut album.
Yep.
And the last thing here in the continuity section, one thing Korn can be briefly heard playing a piece from Skylar Morse's song Shelly Shelly from Cat Orgy. And Wendy Testenberger wins the costume contest again. So, and we mentioned Kenny died, Snowspeeder, blah, blah, blah. Top likes, Joe. Tell me your top likes.
I was always a fan of the Halloween openings for the first 3 seasons. I don't know. I always liked that. There was a scene very early in the episode that we didn't really touch on where they're going through, where Cartman goes through one of those haunted houses where they blindfold you and they put your hands in the food and stuff. The warm innards of the body where they shove Cartman's hand up the,
Yeah, this is, yeah, oh my God, this feels
it's totally warm.
So they set up with donkeys. So basically Cartman was a jackass here.
Yep. Like I said, I'm not a... Yep, right up to jackass. I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo, like I said, but this was such a well done parody of it that I like it because of how well done it is and just how much they tear into the formula and everything. The description from Necromatic, I guess, I didn't realize they were taking that from somewhere else, but it was just quite hilarious how they were just going through it the whole time. And then and just the ridiculousness of Korn when they were explaining how the ghosts were made and stuff, just like any other Scooby-Doo episode, like, oh yeah, it was totally just using this leaf. Like, why the fuck didn't we think of that? Sorry, Freddie. Sorry, Jonathan Davis. But yeah.
So my likes, I mean, I liked Cartman in this episode 100%. He was hilarious in this episode, from taunting Kyle to wanting to have the dead body unburied, if you will. I liked Stan's role in that regard too. His ultimate plan, them getting back at the 5th graders for scaring them and not being the butt of the joke here. So I liked that. I liked Leanne laughing at Cartman. Called fat and fat ass and big bone, and she didn't even really like try and protect her son here. She just let Cartman's friends rain down on him. So I like that. I do like the end. I like the fact that they put the dead body on the stick that Cartman suggested earlier in the episode.
Yeah,
they do use that to scare the 5th graders. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, not much else, man. I wasn't really a big fan of this episode, as I mentioned. I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo. I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo animation, which I'm okay with Hanna Barbera. I just was never a fan of the Scooby-Doo style,
right?
Their style of animation. I'm not a fan of campy endings and like happy endings, because that's kind of the Korn was almost a happy ending, like, we learned something here today, you guys thought we were evil but we're not evil, and blah blah blah. I'm just like, and I just don't like plots that are with laugh tracks. They did the laugh track here, and I get it, that's what Scooby-Doo does. I don't like stuff with forced inserted laugh tracks. I don't like mystery shows like this where it's all wrapped up at the end. I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo, and because of the fact that I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo, I can't even like this episode, really. So much so that, Joe, I'm introducing something new.
Okay? Yeah, I saw that.
It's called Matt's Bottom 5. This episode's in my bottom 5, Joe.
Yep.
I'm not saying I hate it. I'm just saying that as far as my bottom 5 episodes of South Park, this one's in it. I did not put in that's what I call a sticky situation in this episode, because that one's technically a flashback episode, so I'm going to give it a pass. They're just reviewing other episodes, so I'm going to put it. I'm going to make it as far as actual full episodes that I don't like. This is in my bottom 5. Is this in your top at all of any number?
It's not in my top. I had the issue with them talking about Christmas, but maybe they were just making fun of those people. I just feel like the second half of season 3 in general, because of the post-movie hangover, is just there's more misses than there are hits, and this was one of the misses. And this was just maybe a continuity error, but it's really bothered me. If it's Sheila's mother, why is the last name Broflovsky?
Good call out.
But yeah, and I mean, it's not necessarily bottom 5 or anything like that, but it's like I said in the notes, this is probably in the bottom 50 for me, although I can't start rattling off episodes I can think of that are worse than this. This is still like definitely lower third, but they've done worse. But at the same time, I know why I normally skip this episode if I'm doing a binge or something. Like when it comes up, I'm like, oh shit, it's the Korn episode, and I skip it. But like watching it back, I'm able to appreciate the parody they did and everything. Like you're talking about, you hate the ending. I love the ending, that it's like all nice and cheery, and then they go right into the direct opposite with Falling Away From Me, which is probably one of the better songs on that album.
Well, I guess if I appreciate Korn a little bit more, and maybe I was even a fan of Scooby Doo, I probably would have enjoyed this episode. But with all that taken into consideration, as you mentioned, it is definitely in one of my bottoms. Now, you mentioned the latter part of this season. You know, we still have 7 episodes left in this season, guys, of season 3, and that includes, you know, Chimp Pokemon, which I think is a good one, which is
one of the hits. Like that's, yeah, and we'll talk about that next week. But I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's fine. Following that, we have Hooked on Monkey Phonics, which is, I like that one because Kyle meets a homeschool girl in that one. We've got Starvin' Marvin in Space, so that one's with Mark Lark. So that one's a good one. The Red Badge of Gayness is a quality Cartman episode. Sincerely yours, Cartman Lee. Hold on, let me finish. Then this is where the season takes a dip with the last 3. Mr. Hanky's Christmas Classics. Are You There, God? It's Me, Jesus. There's a couple good lines, but overall, it's not the best episode. And Worldwide Recorded Concert. Again, a couple good funny things in that one with everybody shitting themselves. But overall, it's kind of a dumb episode because Mr. Garrison and his dad. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah.
They've got a good 3 or 4 episodes left, and then it kind of tanks off here at the end.
Right.
And maybe it was fatigue. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and maybe I'm just giving them an excuse. Maybe it was just they weren't hitting, but
who knows?
Yeah.
That's it, guys. That's going to do it for another edition of Check Man. I know Ian will not miss next week's recording because just like me, he was a Pokemon nerd growing up. So this Chin Pokemon is one of his favorite episodes. He's been waiting for this episode. In fact, we tried to get one of our close best friends on to do the episode. We've been trying to get him because he's one of those ranked Pokemon players. He played in leagues and like Nintendo gave him per diems and he went around the United States and played Pokemon and stuff. However, he's not a big fan of Pokemon. What he is a big fan of, though, is podcasts. He has his own podcast. It's called the 10-Man Podcast. You're probably wondering why I'm putting it over. Well, the reason why I'm putting it over is because this episode came out still in voting mode for the 6-star search. My best friend's podcast, the 10-Man Top 10 Podcast, the variety show podcast, is out now on HameenMediaGroup.podbean.com. So if you like it, vote for it. He did top 10 wrestling finishers, Joe, and he grew up in our time, as an Attitude Era kid. He kind of fell off wrestling early 2000s, late 2000s, right? So most of his favorite finishers are Attitude Era 90s and stuff like that. So it's a good episode. Check that out, guys, as well. You can also check out, I produce a number of other podcasts, Triple D Star Trek podcast. It's not Triple D's. They rebranded. It's called The Academy Star Trek podcast with Triple D and JDE. So check that out. We've got the New Force Order podcast, which is a Star Wars podcast with Greek god Papa Don, Alex Arroyo, who's legitimately a doctor in real life, and Handsome Reaper, Spiro. And then, of course, you can also check me out on the Impact Attack, where I review Impact Wrestling with Ben Hameen, Ted McNair, and the Like the Fuse podcast with Chris Silvio and Ben Hameen. Dirty JV Vernola. Plug yourself away if you want like to today.
Devotion Championship Wrestling, Primos Premier Pro Wrestling. I am still on Twitch occasionally, twitch.tv/JV9. And yeah, not too much to plug this week. Everything I needed to plug is behind me now. So,
all right,
yeah.
well, guys.
Yep,
Do us a favor, like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Actually, let me bring that up really quick because somebody did leave a 5-star review on iTunes. I sent this over to Scoop the other day. I don't know if I sent this over to you. If I did, my bad, but it was from Chartable, which I signed up for. So they sent us some information. It's 5 stars. It says, MSG and Scoop are great. This is by far one of my favorite podcasts these days. Keep up the great work, guys. From James S. Dobrovsky. So I hope I pronounced your name right. So thanks, James, for leaving a comment. And if you leave a comment like that, we'll give you a shout out too, just like on this show. So
yeah.
That's it, guys, for another edition of Check My Bows. Shout out once again to R&R Pod for hosting us, Hami Media Group, RadSaladReview.com, and we'll be back for another edition of Check My Bows next week. Check my bows. Check my bows. Check Joe's balls.
Please.
They're sweaty.
What is that?
It's my bow.
God damn it, Cartman!
How would you like to suck my balls?
What did you say?
I'm sorry. Actually, what I said was... How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison?
Holy shit, dude.